Here's what you missed at this year's Black Writers Weekend. On Thursday, we kick off the first day of Pitch Fest before getting into our first panel. Then we end the night off mixing and mingling. After check-in and orientation on Friday, we start the second day of Pitch Fest. From 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., our guests, experts, and vendors exchange stories and information through panels, workshops, and tables. And of course, we celebrate it with a social. Saturday is a bit of a scavenger hunt. Across 6 locations, we have workshops, panels, book signings, performances, and more. Our final day is the 15th annual AAMBC Awards, complete with red carpets, live music, and lots of honorees. Thank you to everyone that came out this year, and we can't wait to see you in 2024. For more information, please visit blackwritersweekend.com. If you're looking for a secure haven within the literary world, you found the perfect organization. Let's make magic together. Our space is specifically designed for African American authors who are passionate about their writings of films and books. It's a platform to stay informed about industry developments. And on Patreon, we'll share exclusive content, valuable resources, and engaging discussions and masterclasses on various subjects, ranging from film and publishing industry trends to wellness and business tips. So if you're ready to dive into this exciting community, become a member now. Welcome to our literary haven where creativity knows no bounds. Let's make magic together.
Hey. Welcome you guys to another Sunday's Craft Talk. My name is Tamika Newhouse. I'm the founder of AAMBC. And you are yet joined here with another phenomenal writer that's going to share some very inspiring, but hopefully some motivational moments that help them get to where they are today. And so I'm super excited to get to talk to this young lady. She actually donated some books to Lit Diaries, which is a part of our monthly free book fair that we also give out. Of course, we have book signings and arts talks and all that jazz. And so we're going to kind of dive into her literary journey. Miss CLC, and let me make sure I'm pronouncing your name correctly.
Elyse.
Elyse. All right. Miss Elyse. Okay, so like Elyse Neal. Okay.
Right.
Hi, my daughter. Welcome on. Welcome to the Sunday Craft Talk. How are you flowing today?
I am flowing very well with the current, just moving right along. And thank you for having me. Now, see, Elyse is my pen name. Now, my given name is Dondi Dancy.
Now, I saw that. I'm like, Dondi Dancy. I like that. Why did you use Dondi Dancy? Because that actually seems like a name that needs to be in limelight. It has like this little ring to it.
You know, some people have day jobs, Tamika. You're an entrepreneur, and you pretty much control your narrative all the way around. Some people have day jobs, and some people have those day jobs where it's career to your advantage to create that totally separate creative being, so that no one assumes that what you're putting out there creatively is what you think or about someone that you may know professionally or as a colleague or an associate. And
yeah,
also,
I'm familiar with that.
Don't you think that part of being a creative is just being that, a creative, a character yourself? So that gives me identity to be more creative when I use a pen name.
Okay, so I get that. It's almost like you're creating a whole nother person. That person could be who they want to be, and it doesn't have to be attached to real life where you have to explain yourself, because who wants to do that? This is why I've been an entrepreneur since I was 23. I don't like explaining myself, and I don't like being bossed around. I'm grown. So that's just me. That's me. I'm a horrible employee. So I get it. Like, I don't like folks telling me what to do. I don't even like folks telling me when to get up.
Okay, so, but when you say you're a horrible employee, does that translate to you're an incredible leader? Because you know,
yes.
Okay, so then that's the difference. So you can be
Yes.
a horrible employee because you know how you want to be led, and you can lead from example. So it's better to be a phenomenal leader. You can be a horrible employee. You work for yourself.
This is
Who's
true.
going to
Now,
work
when
for
you work
you?
for yourself, you can't be horrible, y'all. We can't play no games when you're an entrepreneur. You can't do that.
Well, you can write yourself up. You can give yourself, what, a verbal timeout, but how long will it last?
Well,
Well,
it can't last too long because your bill's gonna say they're gonna keep knocking on your door every week, every month. So we can't do that.
that's
And I've been being an entrepreneur is not for the weak at all. Actually, you have to be super strong. You have to be resilient. You have to be mentally, spiritually, and physically strong to push through entrepreneurship because it's super unstable. You'll have you
yeah.
some phenomenal seasons, and then you'll have some seasons that make those phenomenal seasons not even worth it. Like, God, are you testing me? You testing my resilience? Like, it's not consistent until it is consistent. And even when you get there, you'll hear people say it's super hard to stay at the top once you get there.
And
Like
I
it's a
think
whole different beast, a whole different journey.
and I think also too the definition of the top is going to become more refined as you
Yeah.
climb the mountain. Do you know what I'm saying? So as you
Yeah.
learn things, you're going to refine your technique. You're going to refine your strategy. You're going to
Yep.
let go of what's not working, or you're going to pause on things that aren't moving in the direction that they should be for the time. So you're correct. You probably have to have a lot of metal, but you need that anyways if you are a traditional employee. So I admire what you're doing. I hope you know that a lot of people do. A lot of people will admit, such as myself, that that's a journey I'm not yet ready to take. I have the discipline, I have the fortitude, but to your point, I have a lot of creditors and they're not as accommodating as I am. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I understand. I understand exactly what you're saying. It's and I do appreciate that. This is not an easy journey at all. And especially when your journey is aligned or influences other people. You
Yeah,
sometimes may get to the point where you want to quit, or you'll come across people who are just not as appreciative. And it can just become really, really heavy. And so I have my own. I talk about this a lot on my memoir podcast, Traces of Mika. I talk about the darkness. I talk about the ups and the downs, the beautiful parts to it as well. But going about this journey, trying to dream out loud and being your best self and making your dreams come true, it's not so easy. We're not just talking about professionally, we're talking about personally as well. The sacrifices
correct,
that you have to make to juggle
correct.
it all and to be your best self is I wouldn't wish this on most people. Maybe an enemy here or there, because bump them. I don't really care about them. Folks that don't wish me well. It's not that I don't wish you well, but if you fail, I ain't gonna lose no sleep because karma spins the block. But that's a whole nother subject. But you know what, Elyse, take us into before you take us into your stories and even how you got to this point, I do want to talk about a little bit about just how you got to the name. Elyse. Tell us a little bit about that journey.
Okay, that's a very interesting journey, and I'm glad you asked. Elise. C is actually Courtney, the middle name Elyse. Courtney Elise was my daughter that preceded me in death. And for a
Mm,
very long time, my way of grieving was to not talk about it, to just
mhm,
hold it inside. And honestly, I did not pick that as a pen name initially. Initially, I was going to use a variation on my mother's name. But
okay.
when I chose that, I think a level of depression that I had been dealing with and had not been honest about, and a level of grief kind of automatically lifted because it was honestly a way of honoring her and actually acknowledging that she lived. Because in not speaking about her, basically I had erased her memory without intending to do that. So that's how I chose that pen name. And I
Okay.
probably would never select another pen name, although I have others that I wouldn't mind using for other genres. Like I like to play around with romantica or like really racy romance that borders on erotica. I don't think I would want to use this pen name for that. I
Right.
have a pen name that kind of better aligns with that. But honestly, just as I said, once I started using it and acknowledging it and actually um, in doing readings or signing books or anything or introducing myself as C. Elyse, a lot of what I had felt internally just dissipated. So thank you for asking.
And I would have never even guessed that that was even a close to the reason why, but that is a super thoughtful and deep reason, which aligns with the reason why I even named two of my companies Delphine. That was my mother's name. So I have
Okay.
Delphine Legacy Media, and then I have Delphine
Correct.
Publications. And then I
Yes.
actually have tatted on my shoulder Delphine Legacy. And the reason why I decided to utilize my mother's name was because the person that she was, not just to me, but just as who she was to people in general, she
Mhm.
was impactful. People trusted her. She wasn't biased, and she was just herself. And unfortunately, towards the end, I feel like she stopped living. Like she stopped pursuing things for her own life. And when you start doing that, you're definitely closer to the grave, in my opinion. But I wanted people to speak her name daily,
Yeah. And
hundred
that's a
hundred
very
times.
nice tribute. That's a very nice tribute to her.
Yep, Delphine's legacy. And that's how I feel. That's who I feel that I am. I'm her legacy for sure.
That's true, you are. And then you have the actual physical reminder on your shoulder as a tattoo. And you
Yep.
also have your companies, which, to your point, as you said earlier, it's not easy to be an entrepreneur. But I think that even if you can speak that you are the CEO of Delphine Legacy, just speaking her name gives you a little bit more motivation when things aren't working out or when things haven't gone as planned or they aren't happening as quickly as you would like for them to. Just to speak her name, it brings a level of comfort.
This is true. I absolutely agree. And you're absolutely right. And so that takes us into just your story itself. So I do want to tap into this book here. It's a beautiful, beautiful, it's almost like a poetic tribute or a story in itself in the artwork that
Thank
goes into
you.
the cover of your book. Let's talk
Okay.
about it. Let's do it. Let's dive into this story.
Okay, further, that's just a full disclosure. That's Canva artwork. That is just simply
Okay, come
playing
on,
with Canva.
Canvas.
Yes, that's playing with the Canva program for the very affordable, whatever price it is every month. And just as you said, taking ownership of what you have created fully all the way around. Just you, I think you will attest to this. A lot of times you have to do something to learn exactly how it's done. And
Right.
in our community, a lot of times we're very reactive, but we're not proactive. And being an entrepreneur, you can correct me if I'm wrong, you have to be very proactive and you definitely learn a lot on the job. And you learn from your mistakes and you basically learn that a mistake isn't actually a mistake, it's an opportunity to regroup. So
Yep.
just take creative control all the way around. And in taking creative control, you learn that a lot of what we have been conditioned to believe that we cannot do is a lot easier than we believe. That conditioning is just what it is, conditioning. It's not the truth. And it's a lot easier to do than we realize.
This is true. And I'm a huge risk taker. There's no such thing as no. Not in my world.
Right.
Especially if I want to do it. Or if I feel that it may be a challenge or it's not going to be easy to do. If there's one thing is being impossible, but for me it's not impossible until I try it. Then I can say, that's not gonna work. I'm gonna try it. I'm a risk
Okay,
taker.
hold up. Have you ever heard this expression? Impossible is really I'm possible.
Yeah, I've
Break it
actually
down.
heard that.
Yeah, spell it out and break it down. So is it impossible or are you possible? So it's conditioning. It's all in what you want to believe. If you believe it can't happen, it
Mm-hmm.
probably won't. You
It
know what I'm
probably won't.
saying? It probably won't.
You're
So can
absolutely
I ask
right.
you a quick question, not to take control of the interview or anything, but you kind of touched on it a little bit. We both
Mm-hmm.
did. When I talked about my daughter passing, you talked about your mother passing. For me, writing is a form of, it's cathartic. And I'm sure you know the stigmatism in our community associated with seeking any form of help that might imply that you are mentally struggling. So to
Mm-hmm.
me, writing is extremely cathartic. If we're not going to talk about it, we may as well write about it. And
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask you, um, in light of everything that you have accomplished, and you're younger than I am. And thanks again for the compliment earlier about me being a young lady, because I just had a birthday.
Yes, you are,
But how,
girl.
yeah, how do you deal with those moments when you are just low and all of the little pep talks from your friends, you got this girl, you'll bounce back when that is really not working. How do you counteract that? What's your
Well,
self-care?
that it looks different now. So I talk about this a lot in Traces of Mika. So and
Okay.
and this is a memoir podcast. I have 3 seasons out right now. You can watch season
Okay.
2 and 3 on my YouTube channel, Traces of Mika. And so essentially, I am being super vulnerable and very honest about my healing process, which was ugly. And the reason
Okay.
why it was ugly is because I didn't have a lot of covering when my mother passed on. But thank goodness I was raised up in church by my second mother, where I knew how to pray. I knew how to, to dust and get myself up. But I also ended up marrying someone that was super manipulative, a complete narcissist. And then when we were married, he was convicted of sexually assaulting another woman. And so when this happened, I was at the height of my author career. So I had to go out in public and smile and do book signs and all of that. And I had to go home to drama and chaos and my children disliking me because I did not tell them what their dad did and what was going on because they were so young. They were like 4 and 8. So what was I supposed to actually tell them what was going
Right.
on? And so for me to he didn't want me to move on, so he would play my children against me, and at the same time have his hand out and ask me for money to help take care of him. And I knew him since I was a kid, so I had a kind heart, but I was also naive. I'm thinking that people would treat me the way that I would treat them. At some point he'll be kind enough to help me take care of our children. He'll start admitting his faults and his wrongs, and that just never happened. And so my children picked up on those habits and they started hating me. They would do a lot of hateful things. They did not genuinely like or love me. And I began to break down spiritually, physically, and emotionally. I became dark, I became broken, I became bitter. And again, this is also why I was still managing AAMBC, which is my nonprofit, while I was still putting out books. I'm publishing other writers. And I have my own drama in the industry as well that I'm micromanaging. So
Right.
to say that, I say all of this to say I had to do Traces of Mika because it's almost like I had to go to the toilet and I had to get it out. Like I
Okay.
had to talk about it. I had to push through a lot of what people were doing to me, a lot of what life was lifing. It's not like I went out and I made the wrong decisions and I was doing this, I was doing people wrong, and I was just a bad person. Life was just happening, and God dealt me these cards that I felt was unfair. And so I began to self-medicate. I would drink a bottle of vodka. I would go through a bottle of vodka, I mean the big ones, within a day and a half. And I was high and drunk for at least 2 years straight. Outside of that, I became super promiscuous. I did not want to mother my children because I felt it was fair that I had to carry all the weight, and these kids don't even like me. They barely say I love you, and I have to do everything. And like I was mad. I was mad, girl. I was pissed.
Yeah.
So the things that I did, I talked about because I wanted people to see, and I wanted them to see how ugly it can get. And yes, because life can happen. You're going to lose people. People going to treat you wrong. They're going to steal from you. They're going to talk about you behind your back and then smile in your face. And then sometimes you may even give birth to the people that's going to treat you like trash. How do you push through that? And honestly, it was my mental. I had to begin to let certain things, certain bad habits I had to let go. Certain people I had to let go. And I had to begin to start doing a better routine, which was praying, eating better, not sharing my spirit and my body with certain people, and then intentionally speaking positive things over myself. I had to go back to the roots of the things I learned in church and utilize my words. Say, I am beautiful. I am worth it. And I would say that while I'm crying, while I'm sad, while I'm depressed. And those are things I did on my physically on my own, but I also went to therapy. I was in therapy for 5.5 years.
See?
So you can't just do it by yourself.
We go to therapy, y'all. There's nothing wrong with therapy.
No, I started going to therapy at 27.
Especially if you have health insurance and it's employer sponsored.
Yeah.
You need to go to therapy if you need to talk to somebody. It's just you're paying for the insurance. Get what you're paying for. Get what you need. Yes.
It's actually fun to have all the attention. Let's explain like this. A lot of Black women, we don't have the time to breathe sometimes, and where people just be like, girl, sit down and talk to me. Girl, what's going on?
True.
That's what therapy is.
That's what it is. And then the other thing too, to your point, is an opportunity to talk to someone that is non-biased, that isn't even there to judge you, that isn't going to give you direction on what to do, but is going to listen to you. And a lot of times in our community, we don't listen to one another either.
Nope.
We gloss over things. We attribute our experience immediately to you or to whomever when they're trying to talk to us. And it's very unfair. It's unfair, it's inconsiderate, and it's ill-mannered. And we're not, culturally, we're not those people. We need to do better. We have to do better. And counseling, doctor prescribed pharmaceutical intervention, that is nothing to be embarrassed of. It is a form of self-care. That's exactly what it is.
I actually used to walk around saying I was bipolar. And my doctor tried to prescribe. What you say?
You diagnosed yourself.
I diagnosed myself because my emotions would go up and down so quickly, and I didn't really understand it. But as I kind of got, I'm like, man, I ain't had these issues when I was a kid. Even most of my adulthood, I'm not bipolar. I'm sad.
Yes, you have a right to be. You have a right to be, and I'm glad you mentioned that also, because I honestly think that the strong Black woman is a myth. I think that has gotten a lot of us in trouble. I think that is also some BS. What is wrong with us being soft? What's wrong with us being weak? We are women. And when they say the strong Black woman, they're really trying to erase the feminine out of us. Like, we have a right not to be strong. We have a right to cry. We have a right to be sad. We have a right to be depressed. We have a right to say, this is just too much right now. Life is lifing, and life is just too much right now. But also, while we're talking about that, I'm going to be honest too. I think one of the, not necessarily a prompt, but something that sparked the idea to write my book, was actually watching television and realizing, like, in the period of a 1-hour program, how many antidepressant commercials had aired in their 1 hour period, and how few of them featured women who were minorities. So it's basically even the medical industry and the pharmaceutical industry are telling us we don't even have a right to be sad or depressed. We're not even acknowledged in their commercials, and that is untrue. There is a lot of sadness in our community, and for valid reasons. I mean, let's be honest, Tamika, for valid reasons.
Yeah, I mean, there's super valid reasons. It's, we can talk about the system, we can talk about our family dynamics, we can even talk about what's in our blood from
Mm-hmm.
150 to 200 years ago.
Yes.
It is unfortunate, and a lot of us now, a big amount of us have to raise children on our own. So
Yes.
we've had to raise children on our own physically, mentally, and financially, and it is a lot. And
It,
then on top of that, your children need to be nurtured. So sometimes our children are missing the balance because they need the disciplinary and they need the nurture. They need someone that's going to, put them back into place, and they need somebody that they can come to and get a hug from. And
mm-hmm.
unfortunately, a lot of women, we have to play both of those roles. And sometimes we so tired, we so exhausted, or we're broken, we're sad. We may even be bitter. Sometimes we don't even want to admit that we bitter because we chose these dudes to have children with. And some of them, yes, some of them lied or they gave us a different persona of who they were. But now we upset. And we don't
Yes.
get a chance to just be in it. We don't get a chance to. And so now we have to carry all of this on us.
Yes.
Like Erica Badu song Bag Lady, we all these bags, and we're trying
Yes.
to then raise our boys and our girls. And it's hard. And the men, for the most part, they get to choose if they want to. And if they are paying child support, that's them saying, "Oh, well, I did my part." And it gets frustrating. It gets
It does.
frustrating. So I do talk about this a lot. I have a lot of conversations like this about just that strong woman image that they give to Black women as if it's a badge of honor. I even talk about this on my podcast. We don't want to be strong. We want to be held. We want somebody to help us with these bills. We didn't like that whole independent thing. That was a white woman's fight. That wasn't our fight. We weren't trying to do that. Them white women were married to the same men that enslaved us, that raped us, that terrorized us, and they went home to them. So that's why they wanted to be independent. They have to lay next down to them.
But honestly, what were they being independent of? Like you weren't, to your point, you weren't doing anything. You weren't cooking. You weren't cleaning. You weren't taking care of your kids. The only thing you want his money, but you want to be independent. So it's a
You want the freedom to speak up and stuff. Yeah.
it's a fallacy. It is a fallacy. And it doesn't apply in our community. It just doesn't. It doesn't.
We just don't get the chance to. So when it comes to your urban novella, is this what is the subject matter? What's the storyline in your
Okay.
urban novella? For those who've never heard
So,
or heard of you, read any of your books, take us into your.
okay, I'm going to say the main premise is that all families are dysfunctional. I mean, that's just the definition of family. They're all dysfunctional. But beyond that, there is, and you know this as well in our community, there is and it's not the notion, it's the actuality of what goes on in the house stays in the house. So every family has a secret. But what's more interesting is, what about the instance when there is a family secret, but every member of the family has their own spin on the secret or their own remembrance of the events that led to this secret, and how detrimental that can be because everybody's operating in their own truth, which isn't really the truth. So that's one of them. The other is the topic of depression and anxiety in the Black community. Frenemies, because we all have them. We all have people, for whatever reason, that are in our circle, whether we invite them or not. whether we're aware of them or not, who we on the surface believe that they are a friend. You said it yourself. They'll talk about you like a dog before you even pivot to walk out the room. So they're a frenemy.
Mm-hmm.
They really don't mean you well, but they will do all that they can to stay in your company. Then there is infidelity in relationships, especially in the Black community amongst Black men and Black women. And then the victimization when that infidelity comes about, because there is no honor in staying with someone who you know is just not going to do right by you. Then there's revenge, because I think human nature dictates, just like you said, you can wish a person well, but you really don't wish them well. But whether or not you go
Mm-hmm.
out of your way to make sure they're unwell, that's totally different. But revenge is very common in our community. It just is. And some people are so revengeful that it's almost coded into their DNA and they're unaware of it. So I think that there are a lot of major themes, but all of them speak to, because you're creative, and they tell us this all the time. Create what you're familiar with, and so that's it. I'm very familiar with being a Black woman. I'm very familiar with people labeling me strong. And what's interesting about that, Tamika, like you're an entrepreneur, so you may not, or you probably do equally, the whole theory of lean in. So it's okay for
Yeah.
me to be a strong Black woman, but when I lean in at work, I'm suddenly aggressive. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So it's a double-edged sword. And I don't want to say that the whole lean in movement is BS, but I will say that if you are a minority woman, that can be detrimental. Leaning in is usually when you lean in, everyone else leans back. So I write about what I'm most familiar with, but again, you ask, usually something that sparks the idea to take something to a full story. It's not usually something that I'm dealing with personally, or anyone that I know is dealing with personally. It's just something as vague as seeing a commercial and saying, wow, that doesn't even represent what's happening in my community, and taking it from there.
Taking it from there. And what have you enjoyed most about being a published writer now?
The opportunities that I have been able to create for myself. So there's a lot of stigmatism associated with the self-publishing or the indie published route. But I have to be honest, and I agree with you, until you actually do a lot of things for yourself, your knowledge base is going to be limited. And in choosing to indie publish, it forced me to put myself out there. Had I not indie published my book, I would have never submitted a proposal to you to present workshops. So it gave me
Mm-hmm.
a boost of confidence. And I'm a pretty confident person. I mean, I've been told that I'm arrogant, and okay, cool, I'll take that because I could be called worse. But I have to admit, Tamika, I wouldn't. I heard of Black Writers Weekend, but had I not indie published my book, I would have never, on my own, reached out to you and submitted a proposal, and it would have never come to this. So it's the opportunities that I've been able to create for myself. I'm sure you will agree also, because you are an entrepreneur. You tend to put yourself out there a lot of times, and I'm in Silicon Valley. This is known as fake it till you make it capital. So as an
I can
entrepreneur, a lot of
imagine.
times you just have to, the opportunity will present itself. You have to chase the opportunity and do the best that you can do. And as you pointed out, risk. There's something my dad used to say: nothing beats failure but trying. So if you don't try, you already failed. But if you try
It's
and
true.
you will learn something along the way, even if you only learn that you have the tenacity to try. And that's a pretty good thing to learn, I think.
And so in life to me is it's almost like going to the gym, training up to get toned, to build strong. Like you're supposed to get stronger from your experiences, not succumb to them, not get upset, because just like people understand, bad stuff gonna happen. It's inevitable. That's why there's light and there's dark. They both coexist. There's good and there's bad. They both coexist. How are you going to embrace the good and how are you going to embrace the bad? That's all up to you. And I always say that life is about two choices: experiences and then how you respond to those experiences. That's it.
Very true.
Life is going to happen.
Very true.
It's
And I
literally
don't
going to
believe in
happen.
luck. And I don't believe in luck. I believe that you create your own luck. I also don't believe in coincidence. I think coincidence is really the universe nudging you to move in a certain direction. It's nothing just coincidentally occurs. Like there's something you need to pay attention to, and you need to move forward from that point.
It's true, and you just need to move forward. But I'm super excited just about what you have done with this project so far. The fact that you are taking risks, discovering new things, and kind of stretching yourself outside of your comfort zone. I definitely want to encourage you to continue to do that. And so now, as you do have this project out, what's next? What are you planning on risking and tapping into next?
Okay, so the fun thing is I took a risk and I applied for a 1-year publishing cohort program and was accepted. So that's my next risk, is to successfully complete that program in 2024. I'm already planning it. I'm saying I'm coming out with a literary agent and a couple of books under contract. But I look at what you're doing as a young Black lady in America. This novella is like the first in a planned series. And I know that you're doing things with production, and you and I talked about you potentially doing a cooking show. So one day I'm just going to put this in the universe too. I want you to publish this book as a play. You and I.
Ooh.
Okay. So when you get to think that through, have your people, that's you, call my people, that's me.
Okay, I have my people reach out to your people, and we're going to see what we can do.
Yeah, we can make this happen. I do want to point out too, because you talked about your company being named in honor of your mother. So the title of my book is also in honor of my mother. So lilies are my favorite flowers. They're very, very fragrant. They're extremely hardy. They're mentioned in the Bible a lot. And they're adaptable, which we as Black women are highly adaptable. They're edible. They're a medicinal flower, so they have a lot of value, but they represent a lot of things. So they represent love and affection, but most importantly, they represent rebirth, which I think you and I, as creatives, we do that all the time. And then again, it's in honor of my mom. That was her middle name, Lily.
Okay. So you are basically healing while you are living your dreams, taking risks, and at the same time paying homage to your blood.
Yes, ma'am.
I love this.
Don't you think?
Say it again.
I said, would you agree that that's what it's all about as a creative?
Absolutely. If you are actually a creative, like whether it's music, arts, writing, we all get inspired by personal experiences of our life. People that we love, people that have made a huge impact on us. A lot of us really create from feeling, from emotion. which is why we feel everything so heavy. And artists can be super extra, super emotional, super detailed, think things entirely true. I don't know if you even had a chance to date an artist. It's an emotional roller coaster. It's a phenomenal one in a fun way, but then it can also be heavy in a negative way. But I absolutely believe that a lot of what we create should pay homage to who we are from our bloodline and the things that inspire us, for sure. And that's what makes it art. It is subjective. It's going to people. A lot of people are going to love it. A lot of people are not going to get it, but it's going to connect with the person it's supposed to.
Well, I'm a firm believer that it's over what 340 million people in the United States, and they're saying roughly about 40 million are of African descent. If you cannot find your audience amongst 40 million people, you're not trying very hard.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really it isn't a matter of who does or who doesn't like it. It's a matter of finding your audience. And I think too, traditionally, whether it's traditional film, if it's traditional publishing, traditional whatever, again, we have been brainwashed that there is no audience for us. Yes, there is. There definitely is. Whether you want to take the opportunity to get out there and find your audience or invest in yourself to get to the point where your audience pays attention to you, that's a totally different topic. But you have to take the initiative. Because this isn't a dress rehearsal. Yeah, this is not a dress rehearsal. You got to get it done. You got to get it done.
And you said it right. This is not a dress rehearsal. This is not for play. You do not get any do-overs. And you can't sit there with regrets saying, man, I should have did this. I should have did that. Yeah, you probably should have, but you can't go back. You can't go jump into a time machine and change it. So what can you do to be better moving forward?
And you also have to be willing to do the work, because I'm sure a lot of people admire what you have accomplished, but they don't realize like there was a lot of effort and a lot of energy put into getting to the point you're at now. And this isn't even your pinnacle. So you have to be willing to do the work. You have to, and you have to invest in yourself.
I agree. I absolutely like obviously life has given us wisdom, but I do applaud you for sharing. The Bible says something of the sorts, and I'm not a biblical scholar, but I can paraphrase. It says, share with your neighbor. The things that we have experienced, the things that we go through, the things that we have, we should be willing to share with them. This is one of the main reasons why people turn their pain into purpose. People they share their experiences. I, for one, am a prime example of that, because I refuse for my tears to go in vain. And I also want to tell all the people that did me wrong, because y'all deserve it. that's a personal thing, me telling on y'all. But I do want I want to share what I did wrong. I want to share what I did right. It's gonna land on somebody. And when life is done for me, I have done my job. I've came here and I've completed the mission. And I have created an impact. And I will be remembered through other people's words, through other people's joys, through other people's triumphs. I'm making sure that I am just doing my part, and I definitely don't want my pain to go in vain. I got to talk about it. I got to shout on the mountaintop. I have to put it into my stories, into my podcast, into my events. And I've even stepped further into just more of the wellness space, and writing around wellness. So I even have now creative wellness workshops, creative wellness workbooks. We have Soul Canvas that's coming up in Los Angeles in March, and then we'll be traveling to Brooklyn. It's all about creativity and inspiration and being mindfulness, being intentional. We have enough conference that tells you how to put together a book and how to put together a film and things like that. We have enough of those. Let's do some almost like a pop-up church. Let's gather together and let's fellowship. Let's purge some things. Let's get inspired. And let's build some relationships and some real connections with people that can really help us grow and be better as a unit, as a group of people. So that's what I'm on. That's all I'm focused on now.
Well, I'm very, very thankful to you and for you, and I'm thanking you for being so willing to share your platform with me, because you didn't have to accept my proposal. Like you said, you didn't know me from drying paint. And you
Nope.
immediately, like 5 minutes after you got the email, you were like, I like this. Let me think about it a bit and get back to you. I was so shocked. It's like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
All
I
right.
love
So
giving people
I
yeses. You know, I'll give people yes before I give them a no. And then I'll say, and if they did it wrong or if they could have did it better, I'll let them know. You know, is why not? This ain't my platform. If honestly, if I want to be selfish with my journey, I could have been a millionaire already. Just been focusing on my own stuff. But I love doing these type of things and creating these type of spaces. This is just what I love to do. This is what I was meant to do. This is my purpose. So if and anyone that's watching, if there's things that you feel that you want to do, if you want to take a risk on yourself and kind of bet on yourself and try something new, try something different, you're gonna always almost get a yes over here. We're gonna figure something out where you can do something, and then the rest is on you. I can't do nothing else but give you the space, and then the rest on you. So you got to land it. You know, you got to come here with some confidence and then learn from the experience and then grow.
Well, you said you could have been a millionaire by now. I think that you should think about how you're defining wealth, because if you think of it in terms of non-financial and just what you have accomplished, you're a multimillionaire.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
I get that.
yeah.
I get that too. But you know, me and God, we've been talking. And I told God, you know, yeah, I mean, I'm blessed in a lot of different ways. I've been able to live my life the way that I want to since I was 22. So I'm definitely blessed in that way. But you know, go ahead and give me some of them riches too. You know, go ahead and yeah, it's a
They're
little
en
certain
route.
house I want.
They're en route, because look, we're going to talk about developing this book into a play, so they're en route.
Thank you. And I receive that. I receive it
And
and I believe
I receive it too. And again, I
it.
thank you so much for
You
extending your
absolutely
platform to me.
welcome.
Yes, and I am hosting a workshop for you next month, I believe on the 25th. It's going to be
Okay.
all about setting as character. So round up your people and get your pen and notebook together, because you can learn some stuff too that you can carry forward into your different endeavors. We can
And so
all
for
learn
those
from each other.
And for
Huh?
those that are listening, maybe somewhat confused, especially those that are watching the playback, every week we host at least three workshops, well, minimum two, at least two
Mhm.
workshops a week, and mostly is three. But they're dealing with wellness, creativity, um, inspirational talks on filmmaking, on branding, on how to get a publicist, how to get an agent, how to character build, how to build your world. Like we got dozens of different topics that we're going to tap into, and we're kicking off our workshops again the second week in January. And so become a member of Patreon. It is free to join. Majority of these sessions are just open to the public. So join us on Patreon and get filled with a whole bunch of information. I'm trying to take away the excuses. No more excuses, y'all. You want to do
Yes,
something?
and
Come on,
also I
we're gonna
know
take the excuses
you,
away.
and even if you forget, I know that you post all of the weekly workshops on the Writers and Illustrators page on LinkedIn. So join
Yep.
that, because it's free too, and it'll push you out a notice saying that the workshop is coming up. And that's also another way to extend your community, because people are
Yep.
always posting stuff out there about they're looking to partner with somebody to do XYZ. So it's a way
Yep.
to take a risk on yourself and extend your community and get your name out there and work through whatever this negative stuff is that you're dealing with, because life is life, and Tamika keeps saying that life is life, and stare back at it with some creativity. When you agree
And
to
it's
hear
never gonna not life. It's gonna always
well,
life.
it's gonna always life, always.
And so where can everybody go and purchase your book?
barnesandnoble.com. And if you're in the
Okay.
Atlanta area, they can pick up a copy at the AA,
Lit Diaries.
yeah, the Lit Diaries bookstore, definitely. But it's on the barnesandnoble.com web page. So definitely go there. And if you pick it up, please leave a review, an honest review. If you don't want to leave it on barnesandnoble.com, leave it on Goodreads where you can be anonymous. But reviews help us to sell books. And word of mouth, especially in our community. Come on, y'all, put it out there for me. I appreciate you all.
And that's the most organic way of marketing, word of mouth.
Yes, and if you want to have your book clubs to read it, I am happy to Zoom in with your book clubs. Just reach out to Miss Tamika. She knows how to get in touch with me. And I will, or Miss Valerie, that is Tamika's assistant. They know how to get in touch with me, and I will respond accordingly. So I love doing stuff with book clubs. It's a lot of fun because it's always
it's how I kicked off my author career.
It's always interesting to get the reader's perspective and how they're so honest about what they would have done if they were the character. So, which is also good tips for creatives on be careful what you say, because that might show up somewhere creatively.
Well, this has been wonderful yet again, have you on our platform. I'm listening to your beautiful beginnings, your tributes that you have for your mother and your daughter. And I'm super rooting for you. Hopefully you'll come out to Black Writers Weekend when we have it. I want to say it is going down August 1st to the 4th here in Atlanta. It'll be for 4 days. I'm super excited about that. Like it's a lot that's going to be going on. And so if you guys want to speak, make sure that you submit yourself.
I need to submit to host one of the write-ins or something.
Yes, submit yourself. Shoot it over to Miss Val and let her know what it is that you want to do. She'll share it with me, and we'll see what we can work out.
All right, I'm with you.
All right, y'all. This has been another wonderful Sunday craft talk with Miss Dondi Dancy, aka C. Elyse. Make sure you please go and support her, purchase her book, follow her on social media. Come to the workshop next month. Again, join our Patreon so that you'll be able to connect with her workshop, as well as dozens of others that we submit to you guys every month. And also make sure that you go and check out Tracy Zamika to continue to get inspired. I will leave you guys here with an insight to Tracy Zamika, the visual memoir, which is a documentary that is going to be releasing spring of 2024. Thank you all so very much. Continue to be blessed, and I will see y'all all very soon.
Thank you.
12 day of Christmas, my true love that to me. 12 stars are leaping. 11 drummers drumming. 10 ladies dancing.
That's the problem. You don't have a choice.
One thing I didn't do was.
It don't matter. The fact that you gotta start the sentence was the only thing I didn't do. Does he not get that? The only thing I didn't do. That's the point.
Yeah.
Get out, man.
Yeah, I mean, how are you? Because she never give me credit for what
I didn't.
Okay.
What is? How my journey with being a parent evolved, I would have never even guessed that. I would have never said that was going to happen a day in my life where I would not enjoy being married, where I would not enjoy being a mother.
We're at my crib, just chilling, We're gonna let y'all see this one at Christmas.
You know, we tried real hard to do this just right, but no, they wouldn't let us. They just wouldn't let us. We wanted this to be perfect, but you know. Hey. Delphi. Delphi.
Make a face, Delphi.
In a world where creativity meets the digital age, one agency stands out from the rest. Welcome to Delphine Legacy Media. We are a team of passionate experts and creatives dedicated to elevating your brand to new heights.
I learned so much today. It was really inspiring hearing everyone speak about all their different experiences and getting together like authors and screenwriters. And I learned a lot from this.
Their creativity and expertise are second to none. But what sets us apart? We tailor our services to fit your unique needs. Whether you're an author, a business owner, or an artist, our services include interviews, media tours, book tours, and speaking engagements, all designed to put your brand in the spotlight. Are you an artist that seeks to obtain more media, headline your own book tour, or adapt a film? Or perhaps you need media training to best prepare yourself? Whatever it may be, we can manage it. Picture your brand in the limelight. Picture your brand in the limelight. Your vision realized. At Delphine Legacy Media, we're partners in your success. Ready to take your brand to the next level? Contact us today. Delphine Legacy Media, where creativity meets success.